Welcome. I'm James, and this is Outpost Terminal. Today, we're taking a look at Citizen Sleeper. So this is a game made by one person, again, solo dev, Gareth Damian Martin, who works under the studio name Jump Over the Age. I love the backstory here. So Martin has a PhD in experimental literature. Like, he spent years as a games journalist before producing Citizen Sleeper. And this was their second game after In Other Waters, which we may take another look at some point. So the idea, honestly, started as a fantasy thief story and then shifted into science fiction, right? So Martin said that it kind of draws on their own experience as a non-binary person grinding through a gig economy. And that will show up, apparently, directly in the game's themes and the way that the game kind of plays. It took them about 2 years to build this, using custom tools, specifically made so that they could move fast. It came out in 2022, so again, not a traditionally recent game. Very highly critically acclaimed. Had several DLCs and even a 2025 sequel that I might get into if we enjoy this. So, kind of the backdrop for the game itself. You're a sleeper, so you're a digitized human mind that's been stuffed into a robot body. You're owned by a company, and you've escaped, and you've landed on a station called the Eye. So the kind of guides suggest the first hour, right, tends to teach you there's sort of three main elements here. There's dice-based actions. So everything that you do will be rolled based on the condition that you're in, and then you can spend those dice on things around the station. Your body is a clock, so it will degrade over time. So every single choice will have weight. And the eye itself has a lot of depth and kind of room for excitement in it. There's different factions, different NPCs. It has a lot of the elements of a traditional RPG, right? There is no single main quest pulling you forward. It's been said that this is a lot less like a video game and more like sitting down at a tabletop gaming session. And as a fan of tabletop gaming as well, I am genuinely thrilled to check this out. So, with that said, don't forget to grab your tea, and let's dive into Citizen Sleeper. All right, and they've even got in the announcements here that Citizen Sleeper 2 has been announced. New sleeper on the run. All right, so if I hit new game, we can be an operator. So works with a drone and high-precision remote machines to perform complex tasks from a distance. Sleepers assigned to the operator work are usually cerebral and precise, right? So they get better interface for digital work and worse strength. Or you could be an extractor. So they are a little stronger and not very aware. Okay. Or you could be a machinist. So the machinist repairs automated systems used in industrial. I love this as an automation fan, as a robot fan, as a sci-fi fan, as a tabletop gaming fan. The idea of a whole world in which we are choosing from kind of superhuman capabilities, right? So machines and physical tools. So you can be kind of a machine-focused person, a digital-focused person, or a sort of raw brute strength. I think I'm gonna go with machinist. This feels exactly like my style. first thing you become aware of on waking is the disconnect, the delay between thinking and feeling, between wanting to act and acting, minor, almost imperceptible, but always present. At its worst, when waking, when you yourself has spent many dark hours recalling what it felt like to be real, to be a person, to be in a body that was indisputably yours. You can either think of it or forget it. I think it's good to reminisce on it. A leap into a cold lake on a hot day, the sting of blood welling from a fresh wound, the friction of a fingertip. All of the sudden memories are closer than you thought, blurring as you approach until you can't tell one from the other. The cold slips in, behind and around you, and the sensations fade out of reach. Perhaps you should be thankful for the dulled nature of this new body, given your current circumstances. The walls of your container feel immediately present, cold, hard at your back and face, cramping your limbs. You resist the desire to stretch, knowing that the claustrophobia comes next, and retreat a little from your central nervous system. It isn't painful, not like you used to know pain, at least. In emergency mode, pain is a message delivered with efficiency and ease, a reminder that harm is imminent. There's no insistent throb, no trembling nerves, just a warning delivered with the banal quality of a digital notification. Right now, there are thousands of them. I do want to check before I continue too much. It looks like, yeah, you're able to see the text, maybe not the decisions, but so we can remember the plan or the others. For these sections, I can just move us over here. Let's remember the others. No, let's remember the plan. We came with a plan. We're a digital creature, right? Focused on. You mostly remember that it wasn't a good plan, but then your options were limited. And once you got the itch to get out, by any means possible, it was either that plan or something much worse. It was at least simple. Collapse the shaft, drift away in the chaos, slip into cargo processing, seal yourselves into containers, and then hope the freighter left before you were missed. Some were lost in the shaft, others never found the meeting point. Only a few made it to the containers, but the freighter, as far as you know, left. That feels like enough to know that you might no longer be on that grim and heartless rock. Even if, in the airless hold of a freighter, you might freeze solid long before you reached any destination. Let's try to rest. But you are restless. It has been a long time since you left. Surely weeks, maybe months. You're dully aware of the damage to your legs, your right arm. You've been reserving energy as much as possible, but your body has still needed to shut down many of its systems to protect you. You've spent much of that time asleep, knowing that anything else would be impossible to endure. You feel the weight of that impossibility begin to gather. It's time to sleep again, to nudge this false body into inducing delta waves in your emulated mind, and once again recoil into a dream of when you were once a person. Time passes. The cold creeps further in. You feel something. Warmth. Not true warmth, but the indication of its presence. Your joints release from their rigor. Sound, too, everywhere. Screeching and shimmering so loud that your body ducks your hearing to protect its sensors. Then light, white as the cold, softer and softer, until in a haze of dirty yellow a figure appears. You are out. I assume we select. Okay. Dragos is a pragmatic and private salvager. It's been a few hours since Dragos pulled you from the container. Dragos, probably. You sit huddled in a corner of this scrapyard, swaddled in reflective folds of a mylar blanket. You're slowly coming back to consciousness, back to life, and you stare at the ornate curving element of an improvised heater. You're surrounded by angular, incoherent lumps of ships, some corroded beyond recognition, others carrying glassy wounds along their edges where a plasma arc sliced them apart. As you trace their shapes with fogged eyes, you hear a voice. So, sleeper, you all thawed yet? Let's just be open. Almost never seen one of you come in like this. New frames must have better perseverance in sub-zero vac. Seen more than a few of you frozen solid to hull plates or inside-outer locks in my time. They weren't so lucky. Dragos comes into focus, shrouded in makeshift tech, his headset glinting the eyes with the mark of a drone operator. On his shoulder, one of his symbiotically linked drones perches, its irising eye locking you with an unflinching stare. Last living sleeper that came through this yard was a while ago. They didn't last long. You struggle to read his expression beneath your tech, but he seems lost in memory for a moment. Or perhaps he's just figuring out what to do with you. We'll tell him what happened to him. We want to learn from mistakes. Right? He ignores your question. I won't ask what led you to do it, to sell yourself to a corporation. And I suppose you know you can't go back. Your old body, that's theirs now. And you're just software. A rogue emulation, illegally possessing corporate property. You nod along. You remember biometrically signing the forms, the cold floor on your feet as you padded to the sleeper cells, the promise of a life off-world. But as you do, you get the now familiar sensation that these aren't your memories. These are things you know, but not things you feel. You are no longer that person. You are an offshoot, a copy. What you won't know is what's ahead. At least the last one didn't. There's no easy way to put it. That body of yours is falling apart. It's the same for any sleeper who makes it out. S&ARP wants to protect their property, but if they can't keep a hold of you, well, no one can. You remember that too, or at least rumors of it from the other sleepers. Planned obsolescence, a built-in dependence on the regularly administered supplements that were part of your routine. Stop taking them, and your body begins to shut down, separate from your emulated mind. How long has it been? How long do you have? But for now, sleeper, you're one of the lucky ones. Dragos glances up and away, towards the glassy dome of the yard. The eye is the best place you could be right now. The station. You'll see soon enough. Dragos impatiently shifts his weight. Look, I've got things to be getting on with, he trails off. There's an old freighter container I've been using as storage out in the stacks. We haven't been pulling in much valuable scrap these days, so you're welcome to it. Something wells up inside of you. Emotion. Fatigue. You shakily get to your feet. All right, you head on up there. You look like you need some rest. And with that, Dragos stalks back into the wrecks, his drones already converging on a rusting hulk. Plasma flashes silhouetting his spindly figure as he returns to work. So this is the tutorial. Welcome to Erlin's Eye. Life on the Eye runs in cycles, during which you can talk to characters, explore areas of the station, and perform actions. At the end of each cycle, you'll need to head to your current home to rest. Resting will move time forward on the station. Head to the empty container location to rest and end the cycle now. You select locations, clicking on their icon. Well, your home. So we can end cycle. The sound design here is impeccable. Like, I can see why they spent so long wanting to nail the environment. Like, that's so much of Tabletop is creating that environment. And already it feels like we're there. Right? All right, at the container, we wake up, curled in the corner, and begin slowly assembling the world around us. After all this time, you still find this body, the one you wake in now, strange and disjointed. Its messages readable, but somehow wrong. You sit up, pulling the mylar blanket close against the cold. Here you are, on this ruined station, millions of miles from anyone you know. Are you still in the system? Did any of the others make it out? It's impossible to know. After all this, what matters? Trying to build a life, right? Maybe you did get lucky finding yourself here. Maybe here, on the edge of everything, there's a life for you to build. But before you can build anything, you'll need to learn to survive. I mean, that makes sense. It does kind of conflict with the idea that if we are away from the corporation, we will not survive long. Dragos has left a few comforts: a mylar blanket, the bedroll you slept on, a canister of water, a makeshift electric stove, and some faded sachets of desiccated powder. You thumb the power stud of the stove and begin to boil the water. The contents of the sachets smells like damp wood, and you sprinkle them into the liquid. Such good writing. It's very clear that this is a writer. As the pungent smell washes over you, images from your restless sleep come back to you. A ring, like the station, but skeletal and ghostly. A web of threads pulling at your skin. A constellation of bright polygonal shapes, like angular suns, burning into your mind. There's something unpleasantly visceral about these images, and it is long after you've finished drinking before they begin to fade. You tidy away the stove as best you can and try to gather enough energy to greet the day. Okay, so this is how this works. 1, you have a condition. It represents the current state of your artificial body. It depletes by 1 segment each cycles. I think that's this, yeah, the bar at the top, okay. But can be damaged by violence, injury, or lack of food. If your condition bar empties, you will suffer a breakdown. You'll have to figure out how to recover your condition now that you no longer have access to corporate pharmaceuticals that were keeping you alive. Second step, the action dice. At the start of each day, you roll your action dice. These dice can be used to perform actions on the station. The number of dice rolled is based on your current condition. The worse your condition, the fewer dice you have. Once you've used your dice, you cannot take away further actions, or you cannot take any further actions, and must rest to recover them, okay? And that's presumably the availables are these 4, but there's 2 that rolled exceptionally high, like a 5 and a 6. 3, you also need to eat to survive. This is represented by your energy bar. You can refill it by eating, but first you'll have to find somewhere to get food. Your energy bar depletes by 2 segments each cycle. If it becomes empty, you will be starving. When starving, energy loss becomes condition loss, and your condition will deplete at a double rate per cycle. So it's really bad to be hungry. So we leave. Dragos is standing by the corridor when you close up the container. He's still wearing his headset, and in the harsh light of the corridor, you realize it's implanted. A drone sits on his shoulder, its cache of sensor eyes rapidly irising. How are you feeling? Okay. The drone chirps. Good to hear. You notice that beneath the operator's rig, his skin is marked by burns and blotches. I know the container isn't much, but it'll keep you safe. So, I'm not going to chit-chat too long. You well enough to work? Sure. All right then, he nods. At the yard, it's simple stuff. We hack these old hulls down, sell them off to the shipyards or the bright market dealers for cryo. Occasionally, we pull out some tech, something with a bit more value, but most of what comes in is scrap. It's hard to find good hands here, but I figure as a sleeper, you'd be used to the manual labor. And obviously, I'll slip you a few chits of commission based on what you turn up. Assuming that's money of some kind. He shuffles his feet nervously. Look, I wouldn't usually do this. In my opinion, you'd be best suited moving on as quick as you can. And sleepers, well, he trails off. But things being the way they are for me at the yard, I need the help. I'll ask why. Things are a little tight. That's all. I owe a little cryo to a client here or there. He pauses, thinking of something else to add. Look, just come down to the yard when you're feeling fresher. There's plenty to do. He nods distractedly and turns and walks away, the drone hopping along ahead of him. See you later, he calls back. Looks like it's time to get to work. Okay. So we can go work at Dragos' yard. All right, so actions are the primary way you interact in the world of Citizen Sleeper. To perform an action, you click and drag your chosen action dice to the slot. Actions reward you with clock progress, energy, condition, or items depending on their outcome. Okay, so a 6 dice is pretty much a guaranteed positive. A 5 is 50-50. Everything below that is less good. Okay. So either critical or repeatable actions. So critical can only be done once. Repeatable can be done multiple times. Either safe, risky, or danger. So right here. All right. So safe is no loss of anything. Risky, negative, means cryo or energy. Negative outcome could mean condition loss if it's danger. The skill that this action requires, either engineer, interface, endure, intuit, or engage. So in this case, this one would be an engineer. This one is an endure. Okay. The modifier, which is the number off to the side, this is added to action dice when slotted and improves its value. Okay. So hull dissection, it's a +1 engineer, or manual salvage, which is an endure. I am better as an engineer. It is risky, but I can, with a +1, play a 5 on it and guarantee, a positive outcome. So we use it. All right, actions often progress clocks. Clocks are displayed, that's probably what these are, by actions that fill them, and they track your actions and how they affect the world. Filling a clock means something good or bad is about to happen. Some clocks, such as one tracking his debt, are cycle clocks. These clocks tick themselves once each cycle and complete without player input. Any active cycle clocks. Okay. So that's going to happen. This is just one lucky haul. So now we can continue doing it. But here, if it's risky, this is at least safe, which I think is smart. Because safe means it's not going to hurt us if it fails. Alright, drives, and you'll also unlock drives as you discover more about yourself and the world. Drives guide you in pursuing specific objectives, depending on which path you take. Okay. In the top left screen, you're now free to explore and make a life for yourself here. The mouse wheel to scroll along the station, rotate with A and D. And that's how much money we have. We succeeded. We did not succeed a lot. I need to find a doctor, so I'm going to make sure we have done. Okay, so if I do this, I can... Whoa. Okay, so there's his yard, the shipyard, Rotunda wet dock, the old dock terminal. Boy, it's hard telling what's going to be. Bustling open market or passage into the low end. I think it's telling me it's going to be here. Okay, so we go here. We can explore the market. We can ask for directions. Oof. A -1, not good. Not good. Dizzying place and enticing one. Find anything and everything. I think we're gonna have to do this, which is at least a positive outcome. Okay, we got 2 of the 3, and now I have no dice left, so I'm gonna have to go sleep. Hey, the doctor. Next comes the call from the enforcer at the door. You shuffle down the flickering hallway towards the open apartment door, your head down and shoulders high in the queue. I really hope I don't hit like a one-time thing here, because I won't have any dice to use. You were thankful for the tip-off that a doctor was operating out of this place, but now that you're here, you aren't so sure. The gang enforcer at the door, the flickering light strips, the decaying hat block, they've all made the long queue a test of your nerve. But the options are few. Without a supply of stabilizer for this body, your body, will... You suppress a shiver and shuffle toward the front of the queue. You try to find something to distract yourself. You lean against the doorframe and look into the apartment. The entryway is dark, punctuated by the green indicators of stacks of sealed containers. You lean in and see amber light filtering through a far doorway, screened with plastic sheeting, beyond which blurred shapes move. The slap of the enforcer's palm against the doorway jerks you awake. "Wait your turn," he growls. After a few moments, a figure pushes through the doorway, and you catch a distant voice. "Send the next one in, Toshiro." The enforcer jerks his head, and you slip inside, passing through the dark entryway and pushing through the plastic sheeting on the far door. The room beyond is bathed in warm light. A floor-to-ceiling transparent panel gives a full view of Bright Market's sealed roof and the buzzing traffic above, and for a moment, you're transfixed by the motion. "Come, sit," calls a sharp voice, and you see a silhouetted figure turn away, replacing the plastic sheeting over the frame of a simple folding bed. You make your way across the room. The figure turns, and as they do, you see an expression of confusion flash across their features. They open their mouth as if to speak. They blink, and then quickly regain their composure. "Please sit." They gesture to the bed, then turn to an open case of tools on the table. You sit. Sabine turns a compact diagnostic scanner of some kind in their hand. They hold it to their eye. "Remain still, please." Their tone is clipped and businesslike. You stare ahead, still dazed from their expression when you first entered. Fear, recognition, sadness, unmistakably etched across their face. "How long have you been on the station?" they ask, the scanner still to their eye. "A few cycles." "It's good you came to me." They set the diagnostic down on the table. "I'm going to start by assuming you don't know anything." They take your arm and roll up your sleeve, inspecting your synthetic skin. "Your body is dying." They say it without ceremony, without drama, but not without empathy. SNARP doesn't like to see its proprietary technology let loose. To prevent bodies like yours, frames as they call them, from being stolen, repurposed, or in your case, escaping, they built in a process of so-called planned obsolescence. Frames decay rapidly when not regularly injected with stabilizer, one which SNARP remains the sole producer of. Sound familiar? Yes. Good, that may help. They swap to your other arm, running some thin metal device over your skin. You feel your forearm tremble. "I'm sorry," Sabine says, and you're unsure if they mean for the cold touch of the metal or everything else. Emulations like you, sleepers as most people know you, aren't classified as people in any of the surrogate systems. You have no rights, you have no status. They focus hard on the inspection of your arm, and SNARP has no reason to release stabilizer into the market. Sabine looks up as if to apologize again, but they stop themselves. "I know little of this is of use to you." They turn away, disassembling the metal instrument and cleaning it. Silence fills the room as Sabine works, and then the silence gives way to tension. You stare at their back, willing them to say something. Anything. Sabine turns to face you. "I may be able to help." They sigh, and you see the darkness under their eyes, hear the fatigue in their voice. They gesture to the door. "You saw Toshiro outside?" You nod. "He works for my benefactor, Yatagan. They are influential in the low end. They give me this space to work, run the door, and take the profits. At the same time, I have to fix up their enforcers, tend to their implants, and sew up their wounds." But Yatagan has connections, smugglers from the Starward Belt, mercenaries working for the corporations on Ember. If they can source the stabilizer, maybe you'll have a better chance. Sabine sets down their slate, their notes complete. This is dangerous, and it'll be expensive, but I think we can do it. Sabine walks away to the window, their face dappled by the shadows of passing drones. "Let's just see if this works first." I'll let you know when I have a lead. You nod and leave, Sabine staring out, unmoving. When you reach the lower level of the market, you look back up through the panels of the roof to see if you can see their face, but the room looks dark against the lights of the market. You duck your head and walk off into the crowd. Oh. So while we're waiting for that, we're going to have to complete active scenes. Am I missing? Maybe I'm supposed to look here? Sourcing stabilizer. Oh, do I have to? I mean, if I have to buy food, that makes sense. Emphas is busy, his broad face uplit by the makeshift gas burner in front of him. His precise, delicate movements, he lays thick chunks of marinated fungus into a dented wok, his other hand idly tossing a metal bowl of sliced vegetables and some red-flecked dressing. The smell is incredible. You watch as he fulfills a set of orders, heaping the fungus with the bright salad and depositing it in plastic trays. A stack of chits rattles in his apron pocket as customers file past the burner, handing over the payment. You join the queue. Mostly it's made of off-duty salvagers. Vac suits unzipped and rolled down to expose stained vests, grubby mods, a lattice of scars and tattoos. They discuss the best food on the eye, the best drink, comparing notes on bright market dives. Their words cut through the heavy spacer slang. Eventually, it's your turn, and you shuffle to the front. Emphas speaks in a deep, even tone without looking up. First try is free. The smell is almost unbearably strong as he cooks, the earthiness of the fungus laced with something so spicy that the smoke makes your eyes water. The heat from the burner is like a bonfire, and your skin hardens in its glare. I know you, you sleepers, Emphas says while he cooks, his voice deep but clear. A hard life, a lot of stories. He glances up from beneath his cap with piercing eyes. I know. You begin to tell him about your journey to the eye, and he nods as he cooks, his eyes never leaving his work. You tell him of the confusion, the pain, but also the sense of possibility, and its sudden arrival. You tell him of the cold and dark of the container, and the endless cycles spent within it. Now it seems, you tell him, like some dream that you once had, but can never forget. You tell him that the eye excites you and scares you, and that you're unsure where to walk, where to look, what to do. Eventually, you tail off, running out of words. He places a plastic tray of steaming fungus in your hand. Next time, we can talk more, he smiles. But next time, you pay. He slams a heavy hand against a button on the burner's side and shuts it off. The roar of the flame and its impressive heat fades. Next time, then, sleeper. He waves you away and begins to oil the wok. Before you turn back to the alley, you notice the geometric patterns of circular scars across his forearms, each surrounded with a constellation of glinting pin marks. You walk away, and as you do, you take a bite of the rich, spicy, delicately sweet fungus. Your taste sensors light up like a fusion reactor. You'll be back. Yay! A new drive discovered. So we ate, which is good. We still don't have any food. So I think we have to go home. Yeah. That's good. All right. This time, you don't wake up. Instead, the ghost of the station, that shifting skeletal ring, surrounds you. For a moment, you're gone, absent from your own body, stretched out across the colorless void. Then the connections begin to establish themselves, threads tugging on the edge of your mind. These threads become vectors of exchange and then extensions as you feel your thoughts slipping away down them, dissolving into millions of distributed nodes they connect to. You see the station. No, you feel the station, like a web of texture in a smooth black liquid. I think we'll observe that. Even though you have no eyes, no sight, you see and feel the map of the station. No, not the map of the station, but the map of its connections. It's a looped cloud with spokes and spires that jut out into space. It is an ingrown thing full of obsolete loops and severed pathways. It is a system, a map, and a territory, all at once. You notice a tugging feeling pulling at you insistently, as if it were a small child. Somehow it is pulling you in two directions at once. You look down. All of a sudden, everything shuts off. You come back trembling into this unfamiliar body, both yours and not yours, all at once. You find yourself standing in the container, eyes now open to the dark steel walls. You feel a change within you, a shift. You close your eyes for a second, and you feel is waiting there, the station splayed out across your mind, a storm of connective nodes waiting to be explored. And then it is gone. Oh no, we got some poor dice. We also have got to fix the... We just gotta wait three days for that. There's nothing we can do. So we're gonna work the shipyard. Both of those look risky. We could maybe do Dragos' yard, because that would be safe manual salvage. Like, this would become a 4, which is... Oh, let's try it. A neutral outcome. Okay, so we got a little money. The odds of this going well are not good. We succeeded with a neutral. We'll take it. One more. We got another one. Okay, well that's all of our dice for today. We basically worked today. Now we will use 2 more. We don't have to eat today. We will have to eat the next day. So we end the day. That makes sense. This is great. There's so much. I love the intricate design. Like, this is what, by removing the interactive element of like the visual stimulus of a traditional like isometric or 3D RPG, we are digging into the theater of the mind. We are digging into putting the resources of game design toward a broader tree of possibility, and that is incredible, like truly incredible, especially for a solo dev. Right? Very cool. So, as we slept, again, the skeletal ring of the station fills your mind. It sparkles with glittering lights, like stars reflected in a winter lake. It is clearer, crisper than before. The threads still pull, but you remain in place, flickering in the flow. Between the threads, you see bright shapes, caches of shimmering light beneath transparent crystal forms. You follow the path of thread across the ring, through these forms, then leap off into the void. You begin to understand. These are nodes and connections, a map of information, of communication. There are so many layers, so many loops that it seems almost impossible to parse, but you begin to try. Focus on the nodes. The nodes are glassy, bright, but in all this flow, the only solid and fixed points. You approach one, a pyramid or a triangle. Dimensions are difficult here, and lean close to it. Inside, shifting layers conceal a tangle of threads, a meeting point of exchange. But before you can glimpse any further, the The glass clouds and hardens, cutting you off. The threads and nodes, passages and puzzle boxes, one leads to another. There's so much here, so many answers, so many questions. All you need to do is follow the paths and open the boxes. You look out across this ghost landscape of exchange and see an opportunity. But then that insistent tugging again, pulling at you. You look down again and see two lines, two threads pulling you in different directions, as if they were tied around you. You can pick the first or the second. The first thread leads out, away from the station, into the inky black. Someone out there is tracking you, hunting you, following the thread to you. They are in a ship, and the ship is approaching ever closer with each cycle. The second thread leads in, pulling deep into the station. Your gaze follows it, and this time you see something, a sphere shimmering above a strange angular body. A pulse shoots out from it, passing over you like a torch beam, testing you, tasting you. You open your eyes. Time is short. Someone is tracking you. Ugh. You can now access the data cloud of the eye, a network of decaying. While there, you can use dice and items to access systems and extract data, but be careful, these networks are old and strange. Click the eye button at the top of the screen to toggle this on or off. Oh, no way. Okay. Fascinating. Alright, we're gonna have to eat today. Let's go ahead and finish work at the yard. And we have really pretty good rolls. Let's use a junk one. It might be negative, but it was negative. Okay. Okay, well, we will. And we're 2 of 3 there. We could still eat. What is this? So salvage sort of takes several cycles to reach and returns. Okay, so like they're bringing salvage back, presumably. You can explore it or steal dock plans. Wow. It's a -1, which means like if I did this, there's only a 75% chance that I don't take damage. So we're trying to balance, kind of. Alright. Dock C4 is merchants. Okay. There's nothing more to do here until Sabine does what Sabine does. Emphasis stall. Fungus fan. He doesn't trust people easily. Okay, well, we can give him that. We'll eat some food. So we get 3 energy. We gain 1 of fungus fan, and it cost us some money. Okay, I'm fine with that. Let's use this on the yard. We can guarantee success here. Maybe we'll do this one, because the odds are pretty good that it'll work well. Alright, it takes you a while to handle the equipment. Neat piles. Okay, so that's been finished, presumably. Like we're... Dragos, you arrive in a buzz of activity, red blinking lights. They flicker across hull plates and bent structures. The cutter is huge and has been torn apart in some violent encounter. She's a beauty, isn't she? Dragos stands to the side, focused on the hulking ship. She's lowered into the yard. I should thank you. This place was on its last legs when you turned up, and now look at this. The ship descends slowly. its interior visible through multiple hull breaches. You struggle to gather the same enthusiasm as Dragos for this monstrous craft. You can't help but think what became of its crew. Believe it or not, I managed to convince our salvager friends to give it to me on credit. He glances at you. The ship creaks like a calving iceberg as it reaches the base of the yard. Dragos is visibly excited. I know I said you shouldn't stick around, but I'm going to need help with this one. The drones start to crawl over the hulk, their lights illuminating flashes of dented hull. Watching, you wonder if you arrived in a similar fashion, locked inside that container, the wreck of the S&R container lowered into the yard like a corpse ready to be butchered. Or was that the container delivered to Dragos on its own, a womb for your rebirth into this strange station? You shudder. Perhaps if you could learn something about the ship, you might be able to trace the path that led you to this yard. Dragos squeezes your shoulder. After these past cycles, I think we're up to it. What do you think? You see the fading name of the ship emblazoned on its side. Winter Light. Let's do it. Glad to hear it. Come back in a few and we can make a start. A real beauty. Just as you take one last look at the shattered ship as the drones start cutting, and then slip out of the yard, you suddenly feel cold in the empty passage. Okay, so you've completed your first drive. Each drive completed unlocks an upgrade point for your character. Access your character via the arrow button at the top right screen. Okay. So chance to gain random scrap on engineer actions, which I guess we already had. But I have any of these three I can pick, it looks like. I guess I could put I could undo a negative on an engage. I feel like being intuit is probably good. Okay. And I have one die left. I could try something here. I could just do Dock Watcher. It's a -1. Or I could be less risky, so it's for sure not going to. Just explore it. That's probably good. Got a positive. Well, a neutral, but okay. Good, good. And this one is study the winter light, get to know Emphas, and survive. Okay. I mean, that makes sense. So those are the drives. I just now realized that. Fascinating. Alright, we have no dice, so boy, I wish we could get some meds and get some dice back. Okay, so we ate and we are down to 2. We got 1 good die. Hunted. No dreams this time. Oh, nope. As you close up, a voice echoes down the corridor. Sleeper, wait up. It's Fang. I don't know who that is, but Fang is coming down the corridor towards you, a wonky grin on his broad face. Hey, glad I caught you. Do I know you? You do now. He put a hand on your arm. I've seen you hanging around. Just wanted to chat. You staying in that thing? He nods back to the container. Rough. It can be hard to get a start on the eye. He looks down the passage. What was it old Erland said? The eye opens for us all? Nice idea, but well, not always very practical. He glances back at you. We do our best, but it isn't easy. We? You pass together into the main hallway. Havenage. We're all one dysfunctional family. Fang puts an arm around you. I'm not part of the security branch, though. Don't worry. I'm with systems. Think of us as an administrative association for the Eye. Depending on what on who you talk to, we either emerged as a response to, or a continuation of, Andre Erlin's original union. Personally, I avoid the topic. He stops you in the quiet passage. Look, that's not what I'm here to discuss. I've been seeing some unusual network activity, and well, I know a little bit about you sleepers. I have a small proposition for you. He glances around. But this is not the place for it. I have an office just across the way. Give me a cycle or two to prepare. Then, when you're settled, stop by. He lowers his voice and gives you a dark look. In truth, I need you. If what they say is true about you sleepers, well, there's work to be done. He pats you on the back, his voice bright and his dark look suddenly gone. Stay clean, sleeper. He walks off down the passage, raising a hand in farewell. Ooh. Don't know that I trust him. So right now, there really isn't. We can work on Winter Light, or we can work on just salvage. Dragos' nerve. Why would he be increasingly nervous? I mean, these are safe, but they're pretty big. I feel like learning something about the facility here is an overlook regular. It's with a stiff drink. Well, we know we're going back to... Oh, and these guys are almost back from their salvage sortie. Okay, but we can go to buy a vial of the stabilizer. The first thing you see on entering is the glint of Toshiro's implants, like a cat's eyes, in the dark of the corridor. He nods you in as you arrive at Sabine's door. The entryway is still dark, and you push through the sheeting to surgery. I have it. Sabine stands with a case open in front of them. A set of vials lined up inside, separated by foam inserts. They pick one up, rotating it in the warm light. I have no idea how Yadigan. They trail up. We should treat this with caution. It looks authentic, but I have no idea if it really is what it appears to be. I don't know that it matters. I appreciate your enthusiasm, but we need to be careful. Unfortunately, I'm not sure we have another choice. They motion for you to sit on the bed. The stabilizer works under a similar principle to an immunosuppressant in the transplant operation, in that it stops your body from rejecting the unfamiliar part of itself. In the case of your frame, the unfamiliar part is each of your biosynthetic organ groups, which over time are identified by your body as foreign material, and therefore must be eliminated. Sabine holds up a vial of would-be stabilizer. However, unlike an immunosuppressant, the stabilizer doesn't do this by limiting your entire immune system. Instead, it re-encodes your biosynthetic organs with new protein chains, which act as passcodes within your immune system. The stabilizer refreshes those passcodes, keeping your frame from rejecting all of its own organs. Okay? Which means the stabilizer should be able to encode any organic or biosynthetic matter to be accepted by your immune system. They glance away. At least, if the stabilizer is genuine. The only way to know for sure is to inject the vial. They begin readying the syringe. I will start with a small dose to limit the risk. I don't really have a choice. I think you're right. Sabine cracks the glass neck of the stabilizer vial and uses a syringe to extract a fraction of the liquid. They tap the syringe, and you watch as if any sign might emerge from the clear liquid. You barely feel the needle, your frame registering the initial injection, but with little response. A sensation begins to spread from the site, a fizzing, trembling wave that disperses through your arm with incredible speed. Your vision goes white, and when it returns, Sabine appears encased in shards of sparkling light that slowly fade into darkness as you settle back against the bed. You swim in darkness. Muffled noises, like an argument heard from underwater, prickling waves of cold. When you sit back up, Sabine is sitting in a chair by the window, facing away from you, backlit by the glow of their slate. Awake? Yes. The stabilizer is genuine. They sit down beside the bed. I don't know how Yatagan acquired a case of this stuff, but they did. Sabine looks troubled, distracted. You should rest some more, but you're going to have to do that somewhere else. They gesture to the door. I have other patients. Sorry. Sabine nods toward the case. I'm afraid I can't offer you any more doses. You're going to need to pay for your next dose. Silence fills the room, and they return to their glowing slate. Looking around the room, it seems different somehow, as if things have moved or shifted. You wonder, how long have you been out? Sabine? Nothing comes free, sleeper. Remember that. You manage to get to your feet and wander out into the hallway. The queue stretches down the flickering corridor. Toshiro stands impatiently by the door and fixes you with a stare as you leave. You lower your eyes as you stumble past, somehow faintly aware of the station spinning beneath you. Oh, we're stable. Oh, that's excellent. Okay, so what's at the shipyard? Anything? Just get this to work there. No tourist here. Okay. I say we do... I could do a 2-3 here, which is pretty likely to go well. Find out. It was neutral. Good enough. I think that's all I want to spend there. Here, he seems a little nervous, but since it's safe, I'm going to go ahead and use my 1. And then we'll use the 5 on... Oh, it was a negative, so it didn't do me any good. Fair. The nodes. I may as well start close to where I was. Average agent, key node. I feel like the key nodes might be more useful. The Havenage agents, or Havenage, I'm guessing are like information. Okay, so data actions allow you to extract data from the networks of the eye. They work like dice actions, but in order to unlock them, you must match your dice to the one displayed on the right. Oh, son of a... So a 1 would have been... Okay, and then the modifier allows it, so I can't match that. For the gate, I don't have anything for that. That's a 3. Hilariously, I saved my good one for something that I can't do anything with. Needs a 2. Needs a 2. So really low numbers are good for these, generally. 2s and 1s are the only thing just worth calling out. If you're paying attention to the sound, note there's the space sound, right? The spaceship sound or the station sound here. Listen to the shift. Like, there's a layer added to it, and that is significant. See, like how that transitions. That's attention to detail that genuinely impresses me. Okay, so it's 100 cryo for stabilizer. Well, we're gonna need to do some work then. I guess that means we could do this. This is still 100% positive outcome. Ship breaking. Got a ++ on yard clearance. That's not bad. And then we'll end the cycle. I feel like this is a beautiful spot, having kind of entered the world, started the story, to pause, and I genuinely will want to kind of hear how you think this is. If you're enjoying this, I absolutely will continue playing, but really curious what people think. This is masterfully crafted. Very big kudos. Very big kudos. I see why this was critically acclaimed. Easily. All right. So before I formally close it out, thank you. I hope you enjoyed kind of coming along for this journey. We are getting ourselves into kind of the next steps of the evolving story for our sleeper who's awoken on a station. It appears that for now we're doing okay. I really should have eaten before I went to sleep, but we'll learn. Awesome. Well, thank you for watching. If you don't mind hitting like, hitting subscribe, all of which help. But I will look forward to joining you in the next one. Let me know in the comments whether you enjoyed this, whether you want to keep this one going, or you want to retire this one and try something else. Thanks so much. I hope you enjoyed your tea, and we'll catch you next time.